Okay, all right. So we're recording now. So exactly what you just said is why we're here now talking about this. You're relying, or you can rely too heavily on reference to the point where you're just rotoscoping something, and then it doesn't have the same life as the reference that you had originally filmed.
Yeah, exactly.
Something in the translation of that, it's quite a skill to take reference, rotoscope it, and then kind of add something to it. That's a big skill, right? So I think that's exactly what's kind of happening here. Maybe it's not a bad piece at all. It's just that you may have missed adding something to it. You may have missed that little spark, a piece. I've done that myself. Is like, I'm trying to think of something, I just film it straight, and then I basically rotoscope the reference, and I'm like, oh damn, it didn't turn out the way I wanted, and then I run out of time.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, pretty much that's it. That's right now.
So I think like if we, let's play it through.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
So I think what's happening here is that there are opportunities that can be punched up a little bit with a touch of anatomy and a touch of just extra animation. Mm-hmm. So like in particular, right around,
I've seen things.
It says, I've seen things, the beat, very small beat in between I've and seen things needs a little bit of contemplation. There needs to be an emotional shift that happens very subtly in that moment. That, he's like, now he's deciding what this means to him. I've seen things that you wouldn't believe, right? So we have to consider who's he talking to, who's he telling this to, and how does he feel about what he's telling them? And then there's an extra level to it. How does he perceive the people he's telling it to? Does he think that they believe him? Does he think that they think he's crazy? So there's this kind of extra dimension of psychology to it that you can apply to the shot that will give you that extra little spark. And I think maybe like an anatomical way to put it is tension, or increasing or decreasing the tension. So tension versus relaxation. And here it's like, he's going into his own head, so he doesn't need to act right on the dialogue. He needs to start acting a little bit before it. If that makes sense, yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense actually. Like before he says "see," maybe he could tense up because like he remembers all the horrible things he's seen or experienced, and the people around him, and maybe the people around him don't understand that.
Yeah.
It kind of like, it's like, ugh. So, no, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So that's good that you can even think about that, because that's like your story, It's like, what was the kind of point of even doing this piece? Like when you make this stuff, you want to think of what each character's thinking, and not only that, but like what are the scenes before and after? Like what happened in this little piece of the movie that you're making, right? And that'll help you inform your entire performance, instead of just kind of, like you said, like instead of just filming from reference and then shooting that, and then there's something that you miss, like it becomes not animated anymore. It's just this copy of some piece of film, whereas what you want it to be is a full, like, fleshed out performance that fits into some part of a movie or short or whatever you're making, right?
Right.
I think if we go through,
all right.
So let's take just that move, like just the first 75 frames, and see what we can do to make it a little more exciting.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think it's like subtle enough. It's sort of starting us off.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you.
I think it's just the head shake. It's too almost robotic at that point. So like, I've seen things, it would just be one single move, like some sort of tensed movement off to the side, because I think what you've got now is like a reflection. He's like reflecting on the things he's seen. I've seen things, or more than that, he's reflecting on what he saw. He's reflecting on what he's about to say to people. That's where I would take it. You know what I mean? To give it a really interesting little psychological twist, I guess, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's not that he's going to unleash a crazy story. It's that he's going to convey to them through pure emotion of body language that what he's seen is horrifying, right? And he's worried what they're going to think about, right? So it's like, am I really going to say this now? I've seen things, you know? So it's like, you're retreating into yourself, seeing things you wouldn't believe. So he's like realizing or starting to say something, then shrinking and retreating into himself, and then finally coming back to finish the sentence. And then the rest of the piece, I've seen things you wouldn't believe, right? So we can work on that moment where he kind of retreats into himself a little bit, and it'll be in part working with the face, and it'll be in part, I'll just close that. And it'll be in part body language, right? So we can go and... So I don't think we need this key then. So, okay, so what we'll do in here then, I'm going to take his head and neck, and we're going to set like a new pose. So maybe best to do this in the camera. So I'm going to put a key around 18. And I think I'm gonna just delete all this.
Okay, no problem.
And I'm gonna leave a key at 22, and then I might decide later to get rid of it. But
okay.
So I've seen things. So it'd be nice if you did something like it starts to drift down, seeing things, you know, so he kind of looks away. I'm just going to roughly place these things. Like we can get better values for them later and adjust the poses, but right now I just want to play with the timing a little.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. This is kind of how I work anyway. I'm very imprecise at the start.
Right.
And then it gets more precise as I go. I'm just worried primarily about the timing and spacing and a general idea of the pose.
Right.
Which some people might call me crazy, and that's fine.
No,
Just how I work. This is how I work, man.
Makes sense. Timing spacing is the most important thing. So
I tend to think so.
yeah, I'm the same way. Don't worry. Like I always time and space things up before I move on.
Yeah, it's just maybe it's cheating. I don't know. Then I can adjust my poses later, and I know that the timing's gonna work, kind of thing. So I'm just gonna like put in some slow and slow and just see if it works.
Yeah.
And then we can play in the graph editor after. But just sort of deleting things here and there.
Cool.
And then just taking out some of what you have here just so I can create brand new settles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to set a key around here, delete this, and then carry that settle forward. I'll just play with it roughly on the graph on the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I will fix it in the graph editor in a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
Seen things.
That's a lot. Like that turn, like it looks a lot like it feels more believable actually.
It's a little. I think it's just more direct, you know.
Yeah.
We never know when to say. Like, should I say thank you? I don't know. Was that a compliment? I don't know.
No, it was like it's a good move. Like I never would thought to do that. So
yeah.
I appreciate that.
It was a shot in the dark, man. 50-50. I could have been right or I could have been wrong. I'm glad it worked out and I'm glad you liked it. But the funny part is I fully expected it not to work at all. And then we just try something new. And that's a part of my method as well. Because you can get timing and spacing done so quickly with timeline robbing and manipulating the graph editor, then you try so much more stuff. I think sometimes like young artists and young animators tend to think like, well, you got to get it in one go. It's like, well, no way. You know what I mean? Like, why do we have this idea that these guys at Pixar, DreamWorks, Disney, Sony, wherever, ILM, that they just do it like, oh, they just take the shot, boom, they do it in one go. It's like, that's insane. There's no way.
I know, totally. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like I heard tons of pros saying like I never get it in the first shot. Like they got to keep tweaking it, adjusting things, molding their own shots. So, because like I had the same mindset when I was in school. Like I said, like I got to get it in one shot, or else like failed. But then when I did that, like it was even more frustrating for me because I couldn't.
Well, because yeah, you gotta like practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of all that to say, I don't think there should be any expectation that any animator of any seniority should get a shot done in one go. You know, I mean, if you do, then great, do it again, and your second take will be even better, right? But that's my whole method: trying to figure out timing and spacing as soon as possible, so that then, you know, we can take something like this.
I've seen things
and refine it. Now it's like, okay, I got to the broad strokes quicker than I thought I would, or I trained to get to the broad strokes quicker. So now I can spend way more time on the fun stuff. Well, now you can kind of like play with the physics of a shot now, right? Like you kind of pose out and time out your acting. And when you do it, then you get to kind of go in and just play, I don't know, just play with the physics. I don't know, there's no real other way to say that. Because it's not necessarily the acting that you're ultimately concerned about. Now it's about playing with the anatomy and playing with offsetting different curves to manipulate, or to not manipulate, offsetting different curves to play with the different weights of the body. Like if you do a head turn, for example, the top of the head weighs more than the jaw, right? So if you move really quickly, then you kind of have to treat that like a fish, like a car fishtailing, you know, something like that, where the back of the car's energy is different than the fronts, right? And so that's the kind of fun stuff I enjoy when I get in the graph editor. It's like, okay, how am I going to make this look like the correct type of head turn or correct type of weight? So now it's like, okay, we got the broad stroke. So I've seen things you wouldn't believe, whatever. Okay, great, three moves, right? But now how do we turn those three moves into really anatomical looking movements? Or on the flip side, how do we turn those into really cartoony movements, right? So I really like that stuff. So with all that in mind, then now I'm kind of playing like don't want that. Like I said, kind of playing with the physics a little bit.
Right.
So on this head turn here, I just want to get a little bit of snap and drag, or follow through, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
I'll follow through.
Sure.
Makes sense to me. I like follow through.
Why not? Let's use an animation term.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. We're animators. We can do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if that gives me anything. And then I may not want this to happen, that sort of side turn. I might not want that to happen as soon. So I think I'll delete that key instead.
I was wondering, like, when you do like work on a shot, like, do you spend most of your time in the graph editor, or like would you save it for like your final, like for your polish?
It depends on the project. Like I don't really like to block. I don't find it gives me anything. It's more like for the client or for the director.
Right.
It depends on the director. But I don't I don't like to block. I lose something when I do that. If I have to put in all the poses and go from pose to pose, you know, then I got to do this extra step after where I'm taking out the pose to pose with the graph editor. So I just like to just time it and space it and get the broad strokes in there. And then if I need to, bake it out on 2s or 3s and then step it. And then that's my blocking, you know?
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. But so I don't know what I spend more time in. It may be equal. I may spend as much time in the graph editor as I do in perspective or in the camera view.
Right.
Honestly, it just depends on the shot. But one thing's for sure, I absolutely do have the graph editor open at all times, which is why we have like 2 monitors, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, graph editor's always open kind of thing. It's there if I need it. And certainly when I do my polish pass and, you know, into the spline pass, then yeah, absolutely. I'm like 50-50 kind of back and forth, right? But then I would say like if I'm doing the face, then I'm all in the face, like 90% face, 10% graph edit or something like that, you know? So yeah, so now he's kind of turning more or less how I want.
It also feels more alive too.
Yeah, I've kind of varied up the timing a bit as well.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna change one more thing here. I'm just gonna like crush these values a little bit, so I'm just gonna scale them if this will work.
Okay.
Because I just don't really want him to continue turning his head that much after. That's a weird settle for me, so I don't like it. So we're gonna get rid of it.
Of course.
So I see it's like now we're back in the graph editor. You know what I mean? Well, we were in it the whole time, but that's where it becomes important. You play it through and you go, oh, I don't like that. I bet I could solve that quicker in the graph editor than I can in perspective.
Yeah.
Because then you may like. You're like, oh, I don't like that he turns that far. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. But then you see how your value changes more drastically than you would have wanted it to.
Yeah, you get some recur. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can just. I'm gonna stop saving. There we go. You can just do it in the graph editor, like by scaling it. It's just gonna be a cleaner, more precise result.
I've seen things. I've seen things.
Yeah.
And then so here I'll break the rule that I just said that I wouldn't, but here we go. I'm just gonna put a random value because I know more or less what I want to have happen. And in this case, it may work out all right, but I'll change this little guy down here. Oops. And to see what happens. And then you do go into a dead space there, so
Right.
we don't want that. But I don't mind that it doesn't look like a super smooth curve.
Right.
Until I play it and discover it's terrible, and then we'll change it.
I've seen things. I've
It is.
seen things.
It is. There's a little.
A small pop or.
Yeah, a little pop. But that's okay because it'll be faster for us, I think, to solve that in the graph editor.
Right.
If I grab the right value here instead of guessing. There we go. Yeah, so I can get rid of these 2 things, I think. And I can bring this one back and up and then get the same type of curve that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then get rid of a few keys and smooth the whole action out. I could probably bring this one down and get rid of that one. You see, and then you don't really lose anything in the curve. You know, like I can get rid of these 2. And instead of bringing this back to where it was, or where the last key was that I deleted, I can just get a similar looking curve.
Oh, yeah. Just moving it up.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. That's cool.
The only thing that I'm not liking right now is how far over his head continues to go. So when he goes, I've seen things, he's drifting a little too far to screen left. So I want to clean that up a little bit, or not clean it, but I want to shrink this. And so this is the value right here. Because I can see, here's where we started, right? Here's his screen justification. I can't remember what they call it, but he's justified left, whatever. He's looking to the left, right? So we can take this whole thing, and there. See, now he's turning, right? And then when he turns away from camera, this is how far he goes. But when he turns back to the exact same spot he was, right? So I don't like that. I think it just doesn't work, kind of thing. So then we'll clean the curve up here like that, and then just see what kind of result we get.
Yeah.
I've seen things.
See, and now it just gives us a different attitude. So we have essentially 3 different poses or 3 different movements in this sort of 75 frame, 3-second period, but we've got 3 different positions, right? So he's here, and he's here, but he never goes back to where he was, right? I think that's what can help make things a little bit more interesting too, is not repeating the same motions or going back, like resetting to your initial position. Because you would never, as a human, you would never be that precise. You couldn't go back to the exact spot you were just in. It's hard to occupy that same space in a run of a few seconds or whatever. We just move around too much. You know?
I've seen things.
So then, now that we've got that body mechanic down, or we've changed the major acting beats, now we have to change the face in response to that, right? So okay, so I'm just gonna do a few different eye positions.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, for convenience sake, I'm gonna grab my previous value.
I've seen things. I've seen things.
All right, so what I'll do just to illustrate the point here, and the kind of the acting point of this is that your face and your body have to be conveying the same thing. They don't always have to. Your body can be betraying your actual emotion, right? So you could be saying, no, I'm not going to hurt you, but in a very aggressive posture. And then it's like, oh, okay, nice. I get it. Good acting. But with a piece like this, you want the face to be showing a lot of the emotion, or almost all of the emotion. So the body can be tense or hunched over or whatever, but in this particular dialogue, like, I've seen things you wouldn't believe, you want this all to register in the face. Like, what have you seen, man? Like, tell me your story. I can see that you're super stressed, so we need the eyes to be doing the right things, right? So I'm gonna just adjust these eyes a little bit. Like, I'd like to see sort of equal parts pupil on the top and bottom. And then I'm going to look to where the eyes move, and I'm going to add the lids moving around them, right? Because the lids are affected by the eyeball.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to delete the rest of these because I know, because now we've changed the eye, so I don't really need to.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm just going to move these ever so slightly. And these aren't the correct shapes, but I just want to illustrate a point here. Actually, those don't need to change. They just need to raise up ever so slightly. Come on, there we go. Just to match, so they have equal parts iris on both lids. so that the top lid isn't cutting off more of the pupil and the iris than the bottom lid is. So you can just see here, like I'm just matching the lids to the eyes, and again, it's that eye ratio that I'm looking for.
Mm.
Right? You want the eyes to move, the eyeballs to move the lids around them, right? Because it's a sphere, and then there's some skin stretched over the sphere. So, and then see how now the ratio is changing a little bit, just by way of him tilting his head up. You know, that if you watch any like videos of real people, you frame by frame, you'll notice that naturally happens. As you move your head, the muscles of your eyes move in and behave in different ways.
Right.
Just simply by just moving your head.
Yeah.
All right, so that should be it for this. And let's play it back and just see what it looks like.
I've seen things. I've seen.
So he just humanizes them a little bit, you know?
Yeah. It's a lot more believable now.
Let me go in and do just sort of one last thing.
Okay.
And I'll show you just a little extra thing you can do.
Right.
Because you already have the basic parts of it. You just didn't finish it.
Right. Yeah.
Right here. So, and it could be just because you just didn't finish it, right? Like you just weren't there yet with that part of the piece. These sort of subtle acting beats really help inform the rest of the performance, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It just makes it more believable.
Yeah, right. And that's what it's all about. It's like, you know, the illusion of life, right? Yeah. I'm just putting in some slow in and slow out here. But anyway, so let's watch this and then.
Okay.
What I can do is I will. I have two files here, so I'll blast out a version of your shot, the first 74 frames that you've done, and then I'll blast out the 74 frames that we've done here. All right, cool. Let's play, and we'll just see.
I've seen things. I've seen things.
Those little tiny things, right? And all this comes from a study of anatomy, a study of people in real life. You just watch how they act. And Toronto is a great city to watch sad people in. So you're like, yeah, and then movies, man. You gotta watch as many movies and TV shows as you can get your hands on, and bad ones. We were talking today about acting at work. I have a lot of juniors on my crew, and they were saying like, "Oh, I watched this movie and that movie," and they were telling me all their favorite movies, and I'm like, "Those are great movies, guys. You shouldn't just watch great movies." They were like, "That's stupid. Why?" Like, because if you watch bad movies, you'll start to get a sense of why they're bad, and you won't make those same mistakes yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but everybody just assumes, oh, to be great, I just got to watch great stuff. No. You're missing all the bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes bad stuff can be fun, and it's fun because they know it's bad. And that's a whole other category of movies that are interesting to get into. There's great movies, there's good movies, there's terrible movies, and there are movies that are so bad they're great.
Yeah, so that's good.
You know? And being able to decipher what's what, and then also being able to say why. It's just for the fun of it. Let's play the rest of the thing.
I've seen things people wouldn't believe.
And the eyes do go back down because we never worried about any keys after 74. So the eyes go back down. But if we, just for the fun of it, because it is fun, yeah. Yeah, if we just go and we fix that,
okay, then
you'll notice even more that the piece is. And actually, I wonder. Okay, I don't need any of these. Nothing happens there anyway. So then you would just be doing the exact same adjusting we did at the beginning, just compensating for head placement and then how the eyeballs work, the muscles. So now we'll play and see what happens.
Seen things people wouldn't believe.
Right. Now I think it works, right? Now I think it's like
it feels a lot stronger.
Yeah, it's just it's more concise. It's more to the point. It's far more human, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, it's fun to sit down and talk to people who care about animation. So
Yeah, trust me, dude.
yeah.
I want it to be my life. I love animating.